Hello everyone, my name is Kist and welcome back to another episode of Trackling 101. Today, we're going to the smelter. Let's get started. So we're going to skip over the Paint 3D segment I usually do because we already talked about that last time and how we're going to head down to the smelter. But one thing I wanted to point out now that we're actually in-game is if you look, see if I follow my cursor right here on the side of this mountain. And even going up and around, even to this little bowl, this little cutout of the hill, it just seems it climbs very gradually up to where we're standing. Well, if you remember me talking last time on Trackling 101, I mentioned something called intended routes. The developer of this game, Kyume, and whoever created the map, left different, I'm going to say, just obvious ways to travel around the map. The most obvious one that a lot of people tend to look at is the one to the iron mine. If you look along here, this left side of the mountain, you can see that there's like this little obvious path or height of it, if you will. There's just some kind of clear intent on what we should do and where we should go. So from the way we built last episode, we're setting ourselves up to do that today and next time. And now, let's actually get to the building. And real quickly, last thing is I'm going to put a little picture in the top left of what we are going to be building today. I already drew it out. And so I just want to have that overlay there for us to kind of understand what's going to be happening. All right, let's do it. Okie doke. Now, as I get started, I must confess something. Yesterday, I actually built a little of this to kind of make sure it works and we can do everything correctly. And what I found out we need to do first to kind of connect everything up is just build across the river. That's step one. So I'm going to go to a nice number, 69. Sounds fine to me. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go out 69. Maybe a little long, but I don't really care. So now, we're going to do a little bridge piece, probably. Let's do 14. Let's turn it. Okay, so now we have our little transition piece for the bridge. And what I'm going to do now is, I haven't used too much of this lighter one, so we're going to do that now. All we got to do is just build across. Let's do a nice 20. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. And this one's actually easier to line up because you just got to make sure these two things are aligned. Ta-da! Then we did like a what? 10, 15, 14. We did a 14. So I'm just going to build another 14 segment on this side. And now this will kind of ensure that everything is not even. Okay, let's fix this. Okay, that's better. I still hate this tie. I hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Now we don't want two railings on the same side, so we break the other one. Because remember, bridges like to, at least bridge 2, the railing spawns on the left side from where you're building. So I just connected from this side here to where we started. And now we have a railing on the correct side. Now from here, we actually need to start our turn to head down to the smelter. And I believe, real quickly, let's see if we can find a good angle for it first. Remember, curves are all about trial and error. So maybe like an 80. Yeah, 80 is fine. So just remember that we want to be careful when it comes to making curve segments again because of just the transition into them. In real life, if you remember back to episode 2, we have spiral curves. And we're going to use that method of engineering of a spiral curve. Step 1 was creating this transition piece here. The transition piece literally is the transition between straight track or straight pieces to curved tracks. It's always going to be a little bit wider. And we said 80, so let us go to 80 degrees now, or 80 meters. And we're going to build shorter segments since we're less than 100. All of which is to keep the centricity. And now I have a kind of a dip, so I'm going to make an even shorter piece and do our little wall transition. Let's do 12. Round up. Whew, that was scary. I actually don't like that as much. We still need our little transition piece out, so I'm actually probably going to go 90 meters for our transition piece right now. Oh, what was that? 20 meters, that's beautiful. Okay, now remember, this is to build our Y, our piece that goes, that way, to the right. It doesn't want to connect. Let me see if I can just shift it first and let's see if it connects. No, it doesn't. So this is one of those cases where you can crouch and link it. But Kist, why doesn't it connect this way? Well, the spines are placed based off their height off the ground. And so since the switch groundwork isn't that tall, if I place it up here, it's going to have a more difficult of a time. It will still probably do it, but you can see, oh, there it just went. But it took me a little bit before I can place it. So you just got to be careful with it. I'm going to crouch and just link it. Boom, done. And then this will start at the grid, but we're not going to worry about that. Now, before we actually build the Y there, I need to go back over here and build our outer track. The reason for this is it's going to set our outer, it's going to set our boundary for the Y. I'm just going to make sure 70 meters. There we go. Nice. Yeah, it's just pretty easy. We're just going to build a little piece out, see where it connects. I actually probably do a really big curve. Yeah. Look at that. It's totally going to get deleted, but we don't care. Okay. So the point of that is just reference. We don't care what it's doing. We just want to see if it's what's going to happen to actually get us there. And I wonder if a 50-meter curve will do it. Oh yeah. Yeah, plenty of distance. So we can actually do a good transition curve into it. Actually, I'm going to do it real quickly. So you can see going from a straight piece to a curve, it's very sharp. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. I'm just going to delete this. And if I do, let's say 100 meters for, I'll say 10. We'll do 10 meter segment. Now look at the transition. It's a lot smoother. And that's what we want. So now I'm going to go to our 50. Let's do maybe 53. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that should probably work. No, just deleted that curve because I need to place a switch. So I'm just trying to figure out where I need to place a switch. What I'm doing now is just deleting old pieces of the track because I want this switch to be here officially. And so now I'm just going to replace, lower our spline count. It does the same purpose. So now I'm going to get rid of this. I think I'm just going to freehand it, to be honest with you. Let's see, does that do anything weird? It's a little sharp here, so I'm actually going to do our freehand trick. Let's see if I can get that 100 meter segment. Or just a better connected segment. So I have 100 and 100 on both sides. Now I just need to replace both with a freehand spline. Oh, 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 oh. You see how it just kind of darts out of nowhere? Alright. Let's see what I need to do. 50? I just had to push the switch back. So we're going to do that now. It's not perfect, but I think it'll do. We have more than 50 meters of a radius, so we know our bigger engines will be able to pass through it. So that's good. And then what I need to do now is place a switch to go to the iron mine. So I think we're just going to do the same thing, 100 meter segment and then 50 meter radius. Okay, I just completed our little connection to the iron mine, and we'll build from that later when we actually start going to the iron mine. So there's no need to go to there now. I will actually make a connection for the coal mine as well, so we can just get that done. Let's see. Did I set to the right side here? Just made sense up. Let's do 200. The only reason I'm doing a shorter piece now is in case I need to delete other segments. This way I won't have to delete massive chunks. And so this is our connection to head to the coal mine. And honestly, now the hardest part is actually done. It was really just building this together. We do not need a connection from the iron mine to the coal mine because there's no reason for iron to go to the coal mine. There's no reason for coal to go to the iron mine. And whatever. The coal mine needs to go to the smelter, and the iron mine needs to go to the smelter. And then the smelter needs to go back to the freight depot in case we needed to make other deliveries. So now, the grade. Somebody commented recently on part 1 about what grade they should take to get to the smelter. I've seen somebody do a 10% all the way down. I've seen people do like 0.5%. I've seen people do 1%. I've seen people do 2% down. For me, every time I've done 3%. 3% is just such a sweet spot. However, you'll see eventually it's not going to be perfect. But we'll get there and we'll beat that challenge. First though, I need to start my transition to the grade. And you can kind of see already that the track needs to dip down from level grade. So we need to build our transition piece. I think 10 meters, our favorite number. And so now it's curving down just ever so slightly. Now we can actually begin the grade, if you will. We can go at 20 meters, and then we're probably gonna switch to stone wall because the groundwork's gonna be really high. And I'll tell you my trick, my little how to actually ensure it's gonna look good. Is you want to stay close to terrain as much as possible. Actually, looking at this, I think a bridge might be better, not gonna lie. But we're not here for that. 145, cool. Yeah, I think I'm gonna actually put a bridge first. Let's do 12. And we're gonna use... let's use a Korea stay. Yeah, 75, 74, same thing. But that way we don't have some like giant fill here. Literally the only reason. Yeah, see if we can just level this out. Beautiful. Now we're just gonna see if we can just stick close to this. I don't think it's a perfect circle, unfortunately. Oh, it's very close, but I think we clip somewhere, don't we? Oh, oh, should we try it? Let's do 101. Let's see if that makes or breaks the difference. It's fine, right, guys? Yep, it's fine. You know, let's just kind of make this a time lapse and let's see what happens, and I'll pause it where I need to. All right, see you soon. kind of crazy. Being able to look back at it now, we can actually see how steep the grade actually is. I haven't tilted anything. That's actually how the grade is. And I actually think it's really cool to see, not gonna lie. But yeah, so far so good. We've made our turnaround. It's not perfect, we're not following exactly down here, but I think this way looks a little bit better because we're sticking to the terrain as much as possible, so we don't have super giant pieces of track. Speaking of which, time to fix this. Alright, let me just see if I can finish this up right now, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I think we did it. We're comfortably down at the smelter now, and I'm not going to build this down just yet, or level it out just yet. I want to fix this bridge first. Alright, let's go take a look at it in Roads Extended and see how we did. You know what? I think we did a pretty good job. I'm actually really happy with this. It crazily enough looks like how we intended it to be. Yeah, so all the curves we made so far should be big enough and good enough for our bigger engines to use and go down, go up. The grade is a solid 3% all the way down. There should be no hiccups whatsoever. And yeah, I guess the next thing we need to do now is build the smelter. So I'm going to do a few cleanup pieces, or cleanup. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup on some of these pieces real quickly, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to build the smelter. Let's do it, guys. So I know some of you might be are just burning to know, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? How do I build this? What is a good way to do it? Well, for me, I usually design my industries, or I'm going to say routes, by form from function. I'll say it again. Form from function. Now, what does that mean? Well, what is the function? What do we need to have happen here? I need to have one track for the cranes. I need to have one track to load or unload iron. I need to have one track to unload cordwood. I need to have the ability to turn around. And I need to connect to the grade. It's a few things we need to keep in mind when building this. We're not going to do any yards, at least now. We're just going to build straight track. To do that, we are just going to start over here by the cranes. Now remember our little method to build, or I'm going to say line up with the cranes nice and evenly. We're going to use the bridge 2, and looking over here on the left, we're going to make sure everything's in line. There's no grade, there should be no curve. We're going to straighten this out. Let's see how this goes. So unfortunately it's a little too far, I think. I think this was the one. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put down some kind of reference piece, which is my crossover. And now I'm going to build our little industry setup. I like using bridge 1 to kind of make sure I am in line with everything. 17.5. A little bigger. Another big piece. And ta-da! Now, again, the reason for the bridges is so when I run frames, I can see where we need to line up to. So that'll help me. Now, before we're going to do anything else, we're going to go over to the other side and connect it. Now, common wisdom says, okay, build a switch out from here, or build a track out from here, Oh no, it runs into the iron pile, so let me just put a bumper. Done. No. We're not gonna do that. For me personally, I love building over the iron pile. Something like this. Actually, we could probably get away with that, but the hitbox for this is a little weird. So the best thing to do is just go above it. Funnily enough. That might be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. Now I'm just gonna build a piece out. This time. Ta-da. Oh, it's going up. Uh-oh. I'm actually gonna leave it there for now, but yeah. Use stone wall. Let's go 20, and then we can actually start heading down there. Yeah, this way now we won't actually run into the iron. This pile is much or hopefully little to no. However, yes, there is a slight problem. When you fill the iron ore pile big enough, it will clip into the tracks. So it might be good to deliver cordwood first and then iron to the smelter. This side is super easy. Actually, let's wait. Let's connect it back to our main line first. I think the easiest way to do it is from the crane side here. Can I actually just go straight out? Wait. Yes, but no. We don't like that. Let's just replace it, see if it smooths itself out. Yeah, there we go. Much better. Alright, I think we're gonna do some funky stuff. We're gonna do a short 6-meter piece and then go straight to 50. Actually looks rather good. It's a little tight there. I think it's fine. So at least on the basic level, it's actually rather easy just to connect everything up. But you know, you can get really fancy with yards and runarounds and all this jazz and stuff. But at least for now, we're not gonna worry about it. We're just here to get basic track building done. Has it been basic though? Yep, I have no idea. So in order to connect everything up, I do not think it's a good idea to try to force it to curve over now and connect to the other side this way. I actually think it's better to go over here, behind the smelter, into this little valley area. There's actually a decent amount of space so you can fit a reverse loop in there. And that's what we are going to do now. Real quickly, since it's a hill, we're actually needing to go up. I'm actually going to build from the platform. I'm not going to build down at all. So maybe we have a switch, so yeah, that'll be good. However, I think we can make it a little smoother. Yeah. It's going to be a little annoying because we're going to have to unload on a grade. Probably. I mean, we can probably swing around and then load this way. Maybe. We'll see. So now, actually before we even do that, I need to place 2 switches up here. Do so like this. I do want to put a return loop in here, a reverse loop. think I'm gonna do it. Be there. And we're gonna turn this way. Yeah. Actually, it's really easy. This should be no problem. You can just connect straight up to here. There should be no issue. And the exact same thing here. Ta-da! And she's done. Now time for this beast, the reverse loop. So the trick to it is, I don't want to say like being cautious, but it's the circle part of it. It's like you need to make sure your pieces are, I want to say, relatively even. You'll see why. If I just do just one big piece of a curve, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be sharper than we want. So we just need to be careful what's happening. Now this spot is rather tight, and so I'm actually gonna do 50-meter segments. So the answer is no. I'm too far. I'm too close here. So I need to push it back even more. What that's probably going to require me to do is have a bigger curve here. Let's see how far out I can actually go before I need to. Probably here, I'm thinking. So let's get to that 100-meter again. Yep, and now we go straight to 50. I hope now we don't hit the other side too soon. What? Alright, well, let me just speed through this and we'll catch up after I'm done. Okay. I think we did it. I wonder though, I wonder how it looks. I think, actually, wait, no, that's it. We're done. That's the entire loop done, actually. So yeah, let's go take a look at it in Roads Extended. Well, I mean, it isn't the worst thing I've seen. I think it's a little wonky. This just doesn't look, the greatest. I gotta admit. So, there's a solution to this. We just need to, instead of curving over this much, we need to straighten out and do a sharper curve farther out. That way we'll still be able to have the same horizontal distance down, but then we'll have more room here. So I'm not gonna show that, but I'm actually gonna go ahead and do that. And I think we'll be done with this episode then. Yeah. During this video, I wanted to do a little overview of the line we made today. And you can see I fixed that little segment over there. It's gonna look a little bit more even now in Rows Extended. And I just wanted to give a little showcase of what the line looks, kind of like a little line overview. So we started from the switches first, and we built 2 straight pieces out. We needed to cross the river, and so we used 2 little bridges to cross the river as so. We then built the inside curve here to kind of get our turn down to the smelter. Once we figured that out, we placed a switch. The reason we wanted the switch is so we can have a Y, so our trains can go to the iron mine and coal mine from the smelter. To help get the placement of the Y, we placed this outer line here, and this just helps get our spacings. Once we figured out a decent length from there, we fixed our Y, we finished it, but we had a little hiccup with it being too sharp here. The fix for that was pushing this switch right here farther back, giving us more horizontal distance between the switch points. After we extended the lines from said switch, we went back over here to start our descent down into the smelter. The key thing to keep in mind is that whenever we build on a grade, we need a transition piece from level ground here in the actual grade itself. So, using a short 10-meter segment, we did our transition down to a 3% grade. From here, it was rather straightforward. We used different mixes of pieces to make sure we didn't have a giant hill or a giant piece of groundwork. And the thing to keep in mind is we wanted to stay as close to the terrain as possible. And we can really see that we did it here. Very neat. We're still at negative 3% though. Negative 3, negative 3. We level out actually nowhere. We cross this We cross the river once again with our steel bridge because we're higher up. We cross, and we make our turn back to the right. Still at 3%, and once we get close enough to the terrain, we transition back with our stone wall to groundwork because we don't need a bridge this close to the ground. However, immediately following it, we had another kind of dip in the terrain. So, transition back to a nice dark wooden bridge. And we just cross this little, I'm going to say divot, this little downhill hill. We cross the hill. And when we got close enough to the terrain again, we transitioned back. However, immediately again, we needed to build a bridge because of the terrain. Now, the purpose of this stone wall was just to act like a buffer between the straight piece and our curve. We curved back at negative 100 meters to start our turn into the sawmill. Still at negative 3%, and we transitioned down to level ground here at the smelter. And you can see in the distance, we have our line that we built last episode, going all the way around to our descent into the grade, our descent into the smelter. So once we got here, we built 3 separate lines. Started over there on the cranes, then we built cordwood and iron drop off. And this way we can actually pull through, we don't have to do any weird switching. The beauty of this too is we have a reverse loop. And the good thing about this is by pushing the reverse loop back just by a little bit, we were able to have just a nice big one. However, I did a compromise. I couldn't fit a 50 meter curve in here. I did fit a 50 to 48 meter curve in here. But now we have a return loop for our trains to use, so there should be no extra switching when it comes to this industry. We can just pull through on one side and then leave the other. Then we head back our grade to go back to the sawmill or the mines, wherever we want to go. And alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. This route has been, it's definitely a challenge for sure, especially just building that route on top all the way around just because it's so long. But with this grade, we have a very short, kind of just direct descent into the smelter. We have our nice return loop, and it connects into the industry very nicely. Maybe next time, or eventually we'll come revisit it and add a yard, add some storage, do whatever we need to. If you made it this far, again, I really do appreciate it. Go ahead and leave a like and comment down below what you think of this route. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Alright, y'all. My name's Kist. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.